We Code is a movement that we just launched as Alpha Phi Alpha. And what it is very simple. When you look around the world, technology has become the driving force to drive efficiency, productivity, creativity, and it's ubiquitous. It's everywhere. Everything that we do, technology is at the center of it. Yet, the stereotype of technology is quite frankly certainly not something that we associated with Black people, with African people. And we believe that the only way we can change that is doing it at the grassroots, taking this movement on in a serious way. And you must start with the young people, start with the kids.
Townships don't have as many opportunities afforded to them, right? We talk about schools, certainly a lot more challenges, whether it may be just, electricity, whether it may be internet, and whether it may just be just other businesses around that certainly can kind of get some type of perspective. So the opportunities aren't as great, especially when you come into townships or even townships that are even more in rural areas, right? So those opportunities aren't there. So it's really important for us to kind of reach out and kind of bring them along. Else we'll find that, we'll look up and then they're kind of left behind.
I believe that somebody in this room will one day become the next Bill Gates because they'll create something.
We wanted to design a program that addresses both ends so that the kids that we have in our communities have a better opportunity at jobs that are happening in the future, 10, 15 years from now, and preparing them for that now by getting them to speak the right language, which is the coding language. Now, you may not necessarily have to use the code we're using now, but if you understand the construct, you're able to then develop from there.
Coding is as essential as reading and writing or mastering the English language. And it's important for these young people to master this now so that they will practice problem solving. Even if they decide not to be a coder, the skills that you practice when you're learning to code are essential.
Gaining a skill like this is actually going to prove to be an invaluable thing as they grow older. And we are hoping that it will give them an edge or an additional thing that they can sort of put on their CVs to say, I've mastered this skill.
I'm Dorozo Matona and I'm in grade 10.
Okay, my name is Andiles Galala. I'm in grade 10.
My name is Dineo Ntlengato. I'm in grade 10.
I think it was amazing because we got to learn new things like about the careers around technology.
I was so surprised that with coding, you can do a lot of things. You create your own applications. I didn't know that you had to know how to code in order to do your application. It was kind of interesting to know about it.
To be honest, they really touched me because they actually emphasized on that even though we are not privileged to be in the field of coding, we can turn those disadvantages to advantages.
You being an outsider to the cool tech in-groups could actually be the best thing that ever happened to you. And I can talk to you about this because I was a tech outsider. I was a tech underdog. I was that uncool Indian guy in a very large British white school who wanted to become a technologist but didn't know how to and couldn't get into the cool tech in-groups of students who were very computer proficient in that school.
So there are a lot of coding programs out there, but they're not necessarily directed at our kids and our communities. And one of the big challenges that I do see with coding programs is it remains in theory or just remains at a level where people look at it at their laptop, but they don't know how to apply it. They cannot program a drone, a microwave, a fridge, because they cannot relate to the tech versus what actually happens in the real world.
Basically going to be presenting the career opportunity of becoming a drone pilot for the youth. As you know, it's a booming industry. It's been anticipated as one of the fastest growing industries by PwC and other companies who've done a lot of studies on it. So we don't want our youth to miss out on it.
The importance of the exposure of young kids in drone technology is actually big because there's a very huge social impact that could happen. A huge plus for us in our country as there's a crisis of unemployment for one, and skills development is a huge thing for us and it's a mandate in our country to increase. So this exposure could actually lead to something essentially very, very, very big.
Giving children exposure to this earlier in their lives and certainly before they start to kind of build maybe preconceptions of things that they can and cannot do, you expose that to new and younger minds at that point so they can understand, oh yeah, this is something that really can happen.
There's a digital divide between the developed West and the rest of the world. And I don't just mean that because they have laptops and other paraphernalia that go along with modern day living. I mean the ability to sort of get behind the laptop and do the programming, design the programming that makes things work and opens up new fields. And that digital divide is something that we wanted to see if we could in some small way break down.
The reality is that we love technology as Black African people. We use it a lot, but yet we are not the creators of it. So there's a reason why we're focusing on Township Kids. The reality is that oftentimes people, when they come up with programs, they focus on the people who have all of the advantages. Our motto is going from the bottom to the top. And so we want this to become a movement where literally every year, Alpha Phi Alpha, We Code, Black Tech Matters, thousands of Township Kids come through our program. And we literally become the pipeline for getting Black kids in this country into the technology sector and to become the real creators of the future in the 21st century.
We believe that every young person should have the opportunity to really be the master of their own destiny by receiving a very quality education, so that we don't tell them they have to be a doctor or they have to be a scientist, but where they have many options because they're exposed to so much.
All schools. We want to go into all communities, non-discriminatory when it comes to the poverty levels that people undergo, right? So for us, we see this as a huge opportunity for our people, as Black people, to get in touch with tech, to build businesses around tech, and then to be able to showcase that contribution globally.
We're going to start a movement of creating real, tangible skills for Black Township kids who eventually become the...
I'll create apps which will change education, especially the education we have here in Tsakani. I'll create more apps that will help other kids to learn, whether in English, science, maths. I just want to change the world, you know.